Next question. I have a main storyboard to start my application. Does that mean that the main storyboard is the composition root of my iOS app? No, the main storyboard is not the composition root. Storyboard is just a component. The composition root is the place where you instantiate all your modules and compose them together. So the composition root will reference your storyboard as part of the instantiation of your application. It needs the user interface that is defined on the main storyboard, thus instantiates it for you and puts up your application, sets up your user interface and loads it on the screen. It just happens that it does it automatically for you if you give some directions in your build configurations, in your info plist. So that's it. Storyboard is not a composition root. So the composition root can decide which storyboard to use at launch time, which usually is the main storyboard. But that doesn't mean the main storyboard is the composition root.
Yeah, and I can see how this might be very confusing because your application just starts up based on a configuration that you've given in a storyboard where you set the name of the module that you want to load, the scene. You have a navigation controller perhaps that embeds all these scenes. I think it's natural to think that, like the storyboard is responsible for the creation of the whole application. This is the root point of the application. But as you said, these are just settings that can just make easier your life in very, very simple projects.
Yeah, you can use storyboards for dependency injection as well. You can define objects, dependencies in your storyboard, and that will instantiate it and compose your components for you. So you can use the main storyboard that should live in main as part of the composition root, as part of the composition helpers that will instantiate your application. Because the composition root is not a single component. The composition root is just this centralized place.
Yes.
The module where you do all the instantiation and composition. So the main storyboard will probably live there if you have one. But you can also decide not to use a main storyboard and write everything in code in your app delegate or your scene delegate and start your application from there manually. So that's it.